No, it's not a fight that I thought was going to happen, but it was actually one that we called for. We had a lot of stumbling blocks when it came to Arsene Boulamarian. We looked at the Opatea fight. He had a manager against Bastanek. He had a managerial issue that he switched managers, so that we heard wind that it's very unlikely for this summer. And then the next option was Boulamarian. Obviously, Badou Jack's looked after by the Saudis. That was never. He's holding out on a big potential massive fight with someone like Canelo, and he's priced himself way out of it. And Boulamarian just wasn't interested in the fight. We went back with multiple offers, and we were got a great relationship with Boxer and John Wish that's making the phone calls, and he just said, look guys, like, it just seems like they don't want this fight, and I said, for the week of the David Light fight against Lawrence Okolie, I said, look, I know it's far-fetched, but this isn't going to go 3 or 4 rounds. See if Lawrence was in it, and fair dues, he went 12 rounds. It was a attritional fight, but there was no injuries, and it's just fallen into place perfectly.
You've seen everything firsthand. You've seen him both spar over the years. What makes you so confident that Chris can be the first fighter that can even get close to beating Lawrence? Because on paper, no one's really got close, whether it's been on points or Lawrence winning by knockout.
It's just from the sparring, and also Lawrence will go in there supremely confident with the sparring, and Chris will go in there supremely confident. The fighters, prize fighters, they zone in on what they do well, and sometimes they neglect their own weaknesses. And the fact is that I know, and I can reiterate what Chris needs to do right and wrong. And Lawrence doesn't have that. He has his voice in his head telling him how great he is and how much success he's going to get. And I think we know what range we have to fight on. We know what way we have to fight this guy. But let's not make any mistakes. Let's not downplay it. He's the number 1 cruiserweight on the planet. Yeah, that David Light fight wasn't a true reflection of his capability. We will be preparing to box the best Lawrence Okolie, and that is someone that I spent 3 years developing. So we're confident, but we understand the risk. There's risk at this level anyway. But it's someone that Chris feels comfortable with, and he knows, and he's done 300 rounds of sparring with, and I just feel like with the small gloves on, Lawrence said, with the small gloves on, I'm going to take him out. But that's why we're confident, because when Chris is hitting him certain shots with the small gloves on, there's a lot more effect.
Did you pick any holes from the Sugar Hills short time with Lawrence? As he took away any of the work that he did within 3 years? Have you picked out anything?
I just feel like I'm not going to stand here and slander anyone. I don't think it was the best Lawrence Okolie. We had a similar performance with Michael Seslak. It was nowhere near as bad as that, in my opinion. We had a lot. He kept the range. He was a lot sharper, but it takes time to gel. And that's why we got to prepare for the best version of Lawrence.
Shane, you've been a part of so many big fights, pound for pound, guys you've faced. But do you kind of, as a coach, relish this kind of challenge, having to prepare a game plan for someone you've already trained? It's quite an unusual situation.
No, I don't relish this at all, because as much as it's business for us, and it's look, he holds a world title. I still care about Lawrence. I've still spent a long time working to him. We did not fall out. It's not like with other fighters that they've left on sour terms and stuff. This isn't that. It's simply just the fact that he's been very good to Chris over the years. He's given Chris a pathway to pick up a British title, a Commonwealth title, a European title, and it just happens to have fallen this way. And I think genuinely they won't like each other until after this fight. Lawrence has asked for an immediate rematch clause. So if Chris wins, which I think he will, we got him on our mind for the next 6 months. But if we can put that relationship and friendship to one side, it's just the way it is. They try and take each other's head off in sparring, and they hug each other after sparring, and quite happy to go out for coffee and stuff. So it's just one of those things.
Shane, of course you've trained both fighters, you've seen the best of both. What are the keys to CBS's victory here?
Can't say what the complete keys are. I mean, Lawrence alluded to it a little bit up there. A lot of people see Lawrence and just say, "Oh, we're just going to push him back and use my physicality and stuff." But Lawrence Okolie has walked around as heavy as 109 kilos. I've seen him on the scales at 109. It's just like he's heavier than Daniel Dubois coming into certain training camps. He is a boiled down heavyweight. So physicality, his physicality is his key. So we know that we have to make this a fight on certain ranges so that we don't let him implement his physicality.
Shane, just on Daniel Dubois, obviously ordered to face Alexander Usyk. You said before it's a no-brainer to take the fight. Obviously, people going off the last performance think maybe he's not ready. Why do you feel he's ready now for that fight?
Yeah, a chance to fight for 3 world titles. 25 years of age. He's had a loss against Joe Joyce. He's come back. He's got himself off the canvas in the last one. It was a flash knockdown. It was a slight injury, and he overcame it. And I just feel like, the Alexander Usyk is a phenomenal fighter, but he's a man, 2 arms, 2 legs. He's a smaller man than Daniel. He has the gold. He has that pot of gold. If Daniel was to ever box Tyson Fury, he's getting paid a fee. Whereas if he beats Alexander Usyk and he has all of these, AJ's going to be after him. Joe Joyce rematch will be there. Tyson Fury undisputed. I know you guys can downplay it, but he's one of the hardest punchers in the heavyweight division. I believe he's probably the hardest puncher in the heavyweight division. And if you look at Derek Chisora, he had a hell of a lot of success against Usyk. Now we're all fixated in on the Usyk that came out and boxed Anthony Joshua, a guy that was his tactics were phenomenal, and he came back when he was hurt, and he showed true courage and grit and stuff. He's a little bit older since then, and if you don't take this opportunity, you're at the back of the queue. You're on the rotation, and he has to take this. It's a complete no-brainer.
What did you make of AJ's performance? There's been a lot of people have a lot of opinions on it. What did you make of it?
I think he was hesitant. I think he was on BBC Radio 5 Live last night. I think he was hesitant. I think he looks like he should have been putting the left hook on the end of combinations, and that was a shot. When he did do that, he got knocked out by Andy Ruiz, and I think with those smaller guys, that Jermaine Franklin's never been seen to be hurt. Got hurt a little bit by Dylan White. He also got hurt with a body shot by AJ, but he needed a chink and he didn't find one. And I feel like that if he'd have believed in himself a little bit more, then he would have found it.
Do you agree with people like FROCH who says that AJ hasn't been the same since the first Ruiz loss in terms of taking risks and things like that?
I don't think he's been the same since the Klitchko fight. I don't think he's been as fearless. But even with that fight, he still got up off the canvas and knocked him out. Whereas with Ruiz, he got up and he stayed hit. The shots that he had an effect on beforehand, he wasn't able to have an effect on. Ruiz was younger, fresher. But look, it's just one of them things. You've made so much money, and you're constantly thinking like, I've got to win. I've just got to secure it, because if I win, then the Fury fight's there, or there's a chance to fight for world titles, and that's why you're always zoned in and fixated on winning, and it's mainly just securing the bag, as they would say. I don't think that's not the way to go about it. That's not the way to go and put fear up people. Put fear up people by knocking them out and believing in yourself.
Shane, so of course tonight, great fight, Billiam-Smith, Okolie, stadium inside the United Kingdom, domestic clash. But of course there's been the downturn of the news that broke this morning with AMIR Khan. How much of a stain is that of a double-edged sword of boxing?
That's just unfortunately what happens in boxing. It's our sport has been, there's been black marks on it, for many years. I mean, if you look back as far as Roy Jones Jr. versus James Toney, they were both failed drug tests. There's been drug test failures throughout it. Shane Mosley failed drug tests, and it's just unfortunate that Conor Benn's been such a big story, and now we've come out with this, and it tarnishes it, because right now we're announcing a fantastic fight where there's 2 clean athletes and there's a great undercard, and on that same day you've got Mauricio Lara boxing Lee Wood. You've got a great card in Nottingham, and then you've also got a fantastic card with Michael Conlon as well, and these are positive. Obviously it's actually quite annoying that they're all on the same day, but there's great fights on the horizon. You've got Katie Taylor versus Chantal Cameron. You've got loads of fantastic positive things going on with boxing, but really, it's those those armchair fans, as they were, casual fans, as we like to call them in boxing, they're just fixing in on the drug test fails and tarnish us with a bad push.
Looking on a positive note, Taylor Cameron, Ellie Scotney will be out there against Neat Shoxon, getting her long-awaited IBF fight. How's Ellie looking in camp?
She's looking great. I'm really looking forward to this fight for her IBF world title fight. It's going to be the first of many for her. I really believe that she's going to be a multi-weight world champion. A little bit easier to do in the females. There's less competition there, but still can't downplay the achievements. And I feel like she wants to clean up at 122 and then move up to 126.
And just on AJ, a lot of people saying that he needs to say one more before a Fury Wilder. People saying Dillian White, who's already beaten. What's your take on who he should face next?
I think it was bad matchmaking, if you ask me. I think he should have taken the Dillian White fight straight away. Someone that he's confident he can beat. Someone that's been knocked out before, been hurt multiple times. You're boxing a guy that's never been hurt, even though I know that Daniel hurt him, Jermaine Franklin, in the gym. Not like knocked him out, but if there was smaller gloves on, I believe he would have knocked him out. But no one knows that, and AJ doesn't know that. And that's the thing. It's like if you're AJ coming into a fight where it's all about building your confidence and knocking somebody out, why pick a guy like him? They should have picked a guy that might be maybe more dangerous with his power, but at the same time more vulnerable. And that's when you get the proper knockouts. It's when someone commits to a shot. Dillian White would have come out, tried to knock him out, walked onto a shot, and then that would have instilled a hell of a lot of confidence. And you would have been having this Fury fight in the summer with eyebrows thinking, oh wait, he's done a better job than Tyson Fury did. Potentially. So, but they just got it wrong. They got it wrong.
Question on Daniel. Eagles Klimas, Team USYK basically suggesting that the medical note is false and they want like an independent doctor to check it all. How confident are you that he will still pass an independent test?
So he's got a medical note, and this fight's most likely going to go to Perspeed. I'm not sure if they'll be able to come to an agreement. I can't say too much. I'm not Daniel's manager, I'm not his promoter, but I'll let them do the job and we'll just train and get on with it.
Just last one for me, going back to the AMIR situation. As a trainer, do you feel that fighters have enough education on what to take, what not to take in terms of what's on a ban list? Because some fighters can take, I guess, supplements and not know what's banned and what's not, or is there enough education that they given sort of what's banned and what's not?
You're the person putting something into your body. That's the number one rule, basically. Like you feed yourself. You take your own supplements. You take your own hydration, like tablets and stuff. So, just I wouldn't have worries. I mean, it's just down to the individual. The individual's taking that stuff, and sometimes you can get cross-contamination, which is obviously what went on with Canelo. And there's also a few other athletes that have had that same issue. I don't really want to talk about Conor Benn's situation, but I know that the Amir Khan thing, it was that's a SARMs. That's something that is as close to an anabolic steroid as possible. It's not a fertility drug to bring back testosterone from a cycle. I mean, it's a proper banned substance. So he knew what he was doing.
Just a question on if you saw the video from KSI, spoke to the Azim brothers. They were really disappointed in the comments.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't hear it, and they just told me, so that's extremely disappointing for KSI. Big figure, done a lot for boxing, got a different audience in, and another disappointment today.
Thank you very much, Shay.